Hi, I'm Mary from the Harvest Restaurant in Cambridge, where I'm the executive chef. Today I'm going to be doing braised short ribs, which is great for the chillier times of the year or any time if you're really into it. So the first step, what we do, and what I always use at the restaurant is all natural meat. I really try to find farms that are as local as possible and that don't put any antibiotics in the meat or anything like that, because I believe that it's really important. And we are a farm-to-table restaurant, and that's what we do here. So the first thing is, you really want to look for meat that has really nice marbling, which most short ribs do, but if it's a lesser quality meat, it might not. So you want to season the meat properly with, use kosher salt, because it's a larger grain salt, and pepper completely. Kind of want to season so it's kind of snowing all over it, because if you season in one spot and not the other, not all the flavors will come out. So season them both thoroughly. And over here I've got the pressure cooker. That's what I'm going to be using today, because it's a really great tool to use when you don't have a lot of time. And usually short ribs cook in about 45 to 50 minutes, or 45 between an hour and that. So I'll get it hot first. So there's something about the chemical reaction with putting cold oil in a cold pan. Things tend to stick. So if you get your pan hot first, then put your oil in, things tend to not. So it's some sort of mystery of chemistry, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet, but it works. So now that our oil is hot, I always try to make sure that there's a couple little ripples and it's like somewhat smoking. And we put them in. And the nice thing about braises is that you don't really want to mess with them, so put it in, don't move it around, just let it do its thing. When it's fully browned on one side, probably about 3 minutes, flip it over, sear it on all sides, because by searing before you braise, you sear in the juices, you sear in the flavor, and that's really what you want at the end of your braise. So now that these are all seared properly on all four sides, we want to remove them from the pan. And I leave the oil in there because then at this point I'm going to saute all my vegetables and get ready for the rest of the braise. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to start building the foundations of our braise. I'm going to slice our vegetables. And here I've got celery, and I've got some carrots and some onions. The garlic also, I like to slice, or you can kind of smash it to bring out a lot of the flavors. And then I've also got some aromatics over here, fresh thyme, bay leaves, and then I also have some baby pearl onions and baby turnips because they taste really good at the end when they're all braised together. So our pan is still hot from the braise, so I'm going to add everything in there. Add a little bit of thyme. Thyme has some water in it, so just be careful because it tends to pop a little bit. At this point, I want to season the vegetables a little bit, because if you season it too much, and as it braises and the braising liquid reduces, it becomes way too salty. So just a little bit, and you can add the seasoning at the end. At this point, you just want to saute your vegetables. Once your vegetables in, you want to let them go for about 5 to 7 minutes. Stir them occasionally. You want to go from them being raw to a little translucent and have a little bit of color, because what you're going to do is you're going to scrape all the flavor from the short ribs up into the vegetables, and you don't want that to just stay on the bottom of your pan. You really want it to be in the braise. So at this point you want to add some red wine to cover the vegetables, and then nestle your short ribs right in there as they're reducing. You want to reduce your red wine by about half. For this amount, it's going to take about 5 to 6 minutes for that to reduce down. So right now we're just going to let it reduce down, and then after that we're going to add our veal stock and then put the lid on. So once your red wine is in there and it starts to bubble a little bit, you want to add your tomato paste and your veal stock. So I'll add about 1 quart of stock. So add the stock and let it, all the flavors really incorporate. The reason why you want to use tomato paste is because, for two things. It adds acid like the red wine, and it also adds body. So it's a really good, useful tool to add. So at this point, we're going to put our lid on. So the one that I use is pretty simple. There's 2 arrows. You line up the arrows. It's kind of a no-brainer, and you want to slide them clockwise, and then it's set. And so what'll happen is it'll pressurize. You want to keep it on kind of a medium-high temperature. And if you have an electric stove or something like that, it's probably like 7. Let that pressurize, and then at that point, when we know it's pressurized, we'll see like a little like fizzing. Then you want to release it a little bit, and then kind of let it go. You turn your temperature down to low, and just let it ride. So now that the short ribs have been in there for about 50 minutes, they should be really nice and fork tender. So you want to turn your temperature off. You really just kind of want to wait a couple minutes just so the pressure's not. You've already released it, but just in case, just to be safe, you want to wait a little bit. So the way these pressure cookers are built now, there's a lot of safety on them, so you really shouldn't be worried about hurting yourself. So there's like an easy unlock feature here. Just remove it from the heat, and it just easily clicks over. You can really see that our braising liquid is reduced down. Our meat's fork tender, and it's really beautiful. And you had 50 minutes to do whatever you wanted to do with the rest of your day. So at this point, what we want to do is strain our braising liquid. So I'll remove the short ribs from the pan. I usually put them in a saute pan after that, because after I strain, I want to reduce down the liquid just a little bit, because then it creates a glaze and it becomes really nice and shiny and really nice presentation. I use a fine mesh strainer for this because it takes care of any of the impurities or any of the things that you don't want in presentation. And save my vegetables for it, because you've got these nice baby carrots and baby turnips, pearl onions and celery and everything. So just pour a little bit of the hot liquid in here. Just let it reduce down a little bit. What I'm going to do is baste them with my spoon, just so they create a really nice shine. So that now that your braising liquid has reduced to a nice glaze, it tends to have kind of like a rapid boil or a rapid bubble. You pretty much know that you've created the glaze that you've been looking for the whole time. Plate all of our baby vegetables in the bottom. We've got our really beautifully glazed short rib here. And I just garnish with some really light microgreens just to give it a little brightness and some color. And there you go, braised short ribs under pressure.